Now to get back to why exactly this wasn't just a disobedient moment, but rather something God describes as profane, defile, and to pollute and desecrate. We need to see what was really happening in the hearts of the people during this rebellion against God. The plan to build a tower to reach the heavens was to worship false gods or goddesses associated with the sun, moon, and stars. Remember during our lesson on creation that God made the sun, moon, and stars so we could use them to count the days and the seasons? Well, mankind chose to worship the sun, moon, and stars. And it began here at Babel. Babel was both political and religious. It all began with a man named Nimrod. Nimrod was the leader of the people, and he was a hunter and warrior. The dual purpose of the tower and the city were to unify mankind into one religion and one political kingdom, ultimately under Satan and the Antichrist, in direct defiance of God and God's plan for the earth. They said, "Let us make a name for ourselves," as a banner or mark of confederation and organized unity. Legend says Nimrod was married to a woman named Semiramis, and she became known as the Queen of Heaven. It was her image which became the sign of the defiance of God and the banner of Babylonianism. Eventually, Nimrod died, and in keeping with their worship of the heavenly bodies, he was said to have ascended to heaven to become one with the sun. Men were told that from the sun, Nimrod's sperm, which was carried on a sunbeam, impregnated his widowed wife Semiramis. From this supposed union, a counterfeit version of the virgin birth, Semiramis gave birth to a son. His name was Tammuz. Tammuz grew into a man and a hunter. One day, while he was out hunting, he was killed by a wild boar. Semiramis wept for her son for 40 days, and then miraculously, he came back to life again, which is a counterfeit version of the resurrection, and some believe possibly a basis for the Roman Catholic 40-day observance of Lent. Tammuz was raised to life not only as Tammuz the son, but also as Nimrod the father. This is understood similarly as Jesus the Son and God the Father being separate persons, but also one. With Semiramis and Tammuz began a counterfeit mother and child religious system that, in time, expanded and permeated the entire world. All false religion has its roots in this Babylonian counterfeit mother and son worship. When the people dispersed from Babylon, when God scattered them, they took their stories with them. Semiramis and Tammuz became many other, and some famous to us, mother and son deities in other religions around the world. Tammuz is mentioned as being worshipped in Ezekiel chapter 8, and the Queen of Heaven is mentioned in Jeremiah 7 and Jeremiah 44. This is why Babylon is used as a description of all the false religion and spiritual prostitution of the world in the book of Revelation. These religions lead many and have led many people away from God into rebellion. Babel was not just an event that happened because of some bad construction project. It was the beginning of spiritual rebellion against God and worship of false gods that has permeated our society and, sadly, many, many hearts. Many pagan religions originating from places like Egypt, Greece, Rome, Assyria, India, and Asia involve sexual defilement as part of their religious practice. For example, in Norse mythology, which was and still is a pagan religion practiced in parts of the world, sex and the use of hallucinogenic herbs and mushrooms are used to celebrate the gods and goddesses and the gifts they supposedly provide. In the Bible, the false religions, which were the pagan religions of the Egyptians, Assyrians, Greeks, and Romans, had temple prostitutes at the temples of gods and goddesses for the purpose of worship by sexual defilement. Babel is the beginning of all this sin our world is steeped in. Today, in our postmodern culture, it is not so much paganism directly, but the worship of man, which is called humanism, that has defiled mankind and made man as God of mankind, and therefore all sorts of defilement proceed out of that sin. I don't want to get too heavily into the false religions for our purposes for this lesson, but rather just to make this connection to Babel clear for you. You may be asking yourself why the story of Babel makes its way into a class about Christianity and the gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, the short answer is that Babel is the point where mankind blatantly chose to disobey God and began to worship false gods. This is where mankind took our sin up a notch. Babel is so pivotal to the need for Jesus Christ that the book of Revelation, which tells of the end of the age, when Christ returns and God's wrath against sin is finally fully realized, that book dedicates many verses to Babel or Babylon and its destruction. So to understand the first coming of Christ, which we will talk about in our next lesson, we need to really understand just how great the severity of mankind's sin really is.